Hey guys, Philip Wickham here with Evoca Water Technologies. Today we're going to talk about disc filter maintenance. So before we do any work to the disc filter, we want to make sure that the selector switches for the drum drive and the backwash pump are in the off position. We want to make sure that we follow our lockout tagout procedures. So now we're going to look at how to change a disc filter panel. What I'm going to show you today is how to remove the cap, pull a panel out, inspect the gasket, and then reassemble it. I've already went through on my lockout tagout procedure, so everything's shut down, de-energized. Now we're going to take one of the caps off. It's a 1/4 inch Allen wrench. You simply loosen 4 bolts. Once we've got the bolts loose, the cap simply pops off. Just keep in mind, we want to make sure we do keep up with the hardware, and if you're removing more than one row of panels at a time, multiple discs, multiple caps, you want to keep up with these gaskets here. It's a good thing a good time to inspect these gaskets while we've got one of these pulled off to make sure they're laying flat, they're not crimped. Improper installation of these can cause leaks in the system. So now that we've got the cap off, we can remove the panel. You don't want to use any pry bars or anything like that. These are plastic components, so you don't want to cause any stress that would damage them. Usually the panels, you simply put your fingers in these grooves, snatch, and the panel comes out. Once we've got the panel out, we want to take a look at this gasket. So if we were replacing this panel, what we would do is we would take this gasket, put it in a bucket of soapy water, clean it up real good, put it on a new panel, and reinstall the new panel. Being we're doing this just for demonstration purposes, I'm going to reuse this same gasket. It's not in bad shape. There's no tears or anything in it. The sealing surface still looks good. So now, when you replace the panel, you got to line it up with these grooves right here. Our panels have a pressure assisted seal. So what that means is this is an L-shaped gasket that goes around the panel, and when we put it in, it slides in this groove right here. So we want to make sure when we replace the panel or reinstall the panel that it's lined up correctly. Once the panel's in, you want to give it a slight push to seat it at the bottom. Once the panel's reinstalled, everything's seated, we can reinstall the caps. One thing to notate on the caps, it's just a good indicator for the operators and stuff, is the caps are notated with the rotation arrow. This is a good indicator when the operator's out taking a look at something that the filter's actually rotating in the right direction. So let's make sure we put the caps back with the rotation arrow in the correct orientation. To reinstall the cap, I like to hold my thumbs over the bolts. Start at the bottom, get them in the holes, and you don't really have to worry about the nuts. The nuts are actually in a cavity here. Typically they don't fall out unless they've been removed and numerous times. Once you get the bottom bolts in, pick the top up just a little bit, hold those two with your thumbs, align them with the holes, and then pop the cap in place. We want to get them good and snug to prevent any leaks. Before you put any real pressure on any of the bolts, it's always good practice to make sure all the bolts are started first. Once we've got the cap reinstalled, the filter panel's in, we're good to go. We can shut all the covers and put the system back in operation.